brought to you by Charity Mobile. Support life with every call and text when you switch your cell phone service. Use promo code TRADITION at CharityMobile.com for a special Christmas offer now through February 2nd. It broke on Friday, late in the day, that Pope Leo XIV is holding an extraordinary consistory in Rome in January. The few times that Francis really held these consistories was to name new cardinals. That begs a lot of questions, because there's a few cardinals in the church who are way past retirement, but because they were very close to Francis and are now suspiciously close to Pope Leo, some are speculating that their time is up, that they are going to be given their marching orders, meaning their retirement will be formally accepted and they will be out of their sees, either to work in the Roman Curia full-time or to just retire and become figures like Cardinal Donald Wuerl and a few of these others who pop up from time to time, but otherwise are well into retirement. Cardinal Cupich comes to mind first and foremost among that. I am of the mind that Cardinal Cupich will be there until he physically can't anymore, either because he goes to his judgment or his health catches up with him or whatever it is. He hit age of retirement a year ago, more than a year ago, 18 months ago at this point, maybe longer. Submitted his letter of resignation as canon law required, and Pope Francis never accepted it. He just put it in a drawer somewhere. Pope Leo could accept it at any moment, but hasn't. Otherwise, Cardinal Cupich would be gone, and we would be talking about the new Archbishop of Chicago and when that man was going to be made a cardinal. A lot of names keep popping up about that when that day inevitably comes. We go here for the story to the personal substack of a journalist, Mr. Edward Penton, for the headline, Pope Leo XIV plans to hold major meeting of the cardinals in January. A brief Vatican note to cardinals obtained by the National Catholic Register on Friday says the Holy Father plans to hold an extraordinary consistory January 7th to the 8th. Extraordinary consistories are meetings of the Pope with the College of Cardinals. I believe it's only the active cardinals. I might be wrong about that. I don't think any retired ones are there. One of the critiques Francis got from the other cardinals, and this would have absolutely come up at the conclave, was that he almost never met with them. And there were a lot of speculation during his life for why that was, including not wanting to give a chance for the cardinals behind the first dubia, or the second dubia, or the third dubia, a chance to confront him face to face. By the way, we are still waiting on Cardinal Burke to follow up his dubia that he promised with Amoris Laetitia. If you remember, almost 10 years ago, or maybe over 10 years ago at this point, he promised that if the dubia was not answered, he would issue another one, and we are still waiting on that. I don't think we're ever going to get it. I think he's moved on to more important things, at least according to his own priorities. But here are the details that we know so far. This is a big deal. May involve new cardinals, but at the very least, priorities will be discussed at this behind closed doors between the Pope and the cardinals. And we will find out what happened there, because we always find out. Details always leak. Pope Leo XIV is planning to convene an extraordinary consistory of cardinals in early January, the theme of which is not yet known. In a brief communication sent to cardinals on November 6th and obtained by the Register on Friday, the Vatican Secretary of State said that, quote, Holy Father Leo XIV has in mind to convene an extraordinary consistory for the days of January 7th and 8th, 2026. In due course, the Dean of the College of Cardinals will send to your eminence the relevant letter with further details, continued the note before ending, with profound reverence, coordinating office of the Secretariat of State. When the Register asked the Holy See Press Office Director, Matteo Bruni, about the communication on Friday, he said the press office had not yet publicly, quote, confirmed its existence, and he did not think an announcement of such an event would be made that far ahead. As well as a topic remaining unknown, it is also not yet certain if all cardinals have been notified of the planned gathering. Extraordinary consistories are usually special gatherings of all cardinals, convened by the Pope to discuss particular needs of the Church, or highly important issues requiring broad consultation among the world's cardinals. News of the meetings comes after the cardinals at this year's conclave complained about a lack of meetings and collegiality under Pope Francis. And that last point is particularly important. For all this talk of synodality, dialogue, and sharing responsibility and all the rest, Pope Francis almost never met with the cardinals to, share responsibility and engage in synodal dialogue and the rest. Pope Leo is going to correct that, it looks like. For the rest of it, though, what could these priorities be? Well, if we listen to the things Pope Leo talks about, then it's going to be unity, 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 possibly AI. He had some interesting words recently about AI, how AI should be developed by Catholics and guided in its use to promote the common good, human flourishing, and the rest. Not a lot of talk of salvation there, but it's in line with Catholic social teaching. There would also be almost certainly talk of immigration at this consistory. It is clearly the Vatican's most important topic at the moment, to discuss nothing seemingly but the environment and immigration, and those two issues are inseparably linked. You can expect those to be discussed. Immigration is the topic increasingly important pretty much on every continent in the world now. Not just the United States, Western Europe, South America. The Japanese recently elected a new prime minister who put a stop to their early efforts at bringing in foreign laborers into their country who were then trashing the place. If you've ever followed that news out of Japan, it's becoming an issue everywhere. And the advocates for governments doing things on the thermometer problem, as I have to call it here, you always bring immigration into that discussion, claiming that environmental degradation leads to migration and refugees and all the rest of it. And the Pope had some interesting words to world leaders recently saying that they need to take this more seriously. And it was more recently echoed by the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, who claimed that world leaders need to tackle the thermometer problem. That thing with carbon and temperatures and all the rest, all the weird weather, that they really need to focus on that. As if they've been thinking about anything else besides immigration and that question. But that is the message we've gotten from Rome. I'm curious what you think of all this. What do you expect to see at this consistory? New cardinals announced? Or will they just be talking behind closed doors about these kind of social issues? Notice I didn't bring up, vocations, baptisms, the gospel, none of that, because that stuff doesn't ever get invited to these consistories or to the synodal sessions. Instead, it's always secular issues. Although another one that could be there is financial issues for the church, because that's always a concern, including how to fix the Holy See's financial problems. Something Francis tried to do and failed, just like every one of his post-Vatican II predecessors. They all tried to address the financial rot that came with the establishment of the Vatican Bank, and they all failed. Pope Leo is the next to tackle it. And that could very well be one of the things he tries to do. If he can do it, more power to him. I don't think he's going to be successful because none of them have been successful. The Vatican should probably get out of the interest-bearing financial deposits business while it still can. But I'm very curious what you think about this, so let me know in the comments, please. Like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. Share this on social media. That helps a lot too. And as always, pray for the church. Pray for the Pope, anybody we spoke about negatively. And I'll remind you also that Cardinal McElroy has a cancer diagnosis. And he's going to be going into surgery. He seems optimistic. As much as I personally don't care for the man, I will be praying for him, as so should you. Our Lord commands us to pray for virtually everybody who are in need. So let us do what our Lord bids us to do, and do so with a little joy. Maybe we can be a little more charitable in our understanding of him while still opposing the evil he does in the church, and we can pray also for his conversion. And as always, pray for the church. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.